Today in this video we are going to see how do I read data from a scanned PDF into UiPath. Hi everyone, welcome back to the next video in the PDF automation series where we are trying to explore the PDF automation in a step-by-step manner. My name is Mukeshkala. I am now a 5 times UiPath MVP, certified solution architect and also a LinkedIn top voice. I have shared my LinkedIn details on the page. Feel free to send a connection request. Happy to be part of your network. Also, you guys can scan the QR and join our WhatsApp community so that any time a video is getting uploaded, you get a direct notification. Also, there are a couple of other developers. Whenever you have doubts, queries, you can also ask in the group as well, right? So with that, let's jump to today's topic, which is that how do I read text from a scanned PDFs using OCR? Okay, so first thing first, what exactly is a scanned PDF? We have already covered this into our introduction video, so I hope you guys are following this series, but I'll quickly touch upon the key points. Okay, so a scanned PDF contain images of text that are captured through scanning. Any PDF which does not have the text data, we called it simply a scanned PDF. The main differentiation here is that you are not able to select the data with the help of a mouse, and since you are not able to select the data and this is embedded, we have to actually use something which is called OCR. Okay, the full form of OCR is optical character recognition. This technology is specifically required whenever we have to read the data from anything which is not a native text, which is not editable text. So whenever you have some data which is like in a form of an image, a scanned document, that is where you would need something which is called OCR. The full form of OCR is optical character recognition, right? And in UiPath we have different OCRs from different vendors. Now to relate this, where exactly you can find a scanned PDF? It can be an invoice, right? So you go to a restaurant, now you have to claim the money from your company. We take a photograph or we just scan it, right? So that's a scan invoice. Signed forms, you receive some contracts, some offer letters. Now when you sign the offer letter and you scan it back, now the PDF is not an editable PDF, it is like a scanned PDF. You cannot select the data, so that becomes a scanned PDF. And lastly, a photocopy, right? So you have some PDF which you photocopy and now what you get is a scanned document, right? Now in UiPath we would have a lot of use cases where we would actually receive scanned PDF. In the previous one we have seen that how do you read the data from native, and also we have now understand that what are the different ways to extract data once you have it inside the UiPath, right? So I hope you are following this series, and today let's focus on the scanned PDFs and the activities and the properties which are available in UiPath. Okay, so the activity today which we are going to utilize is UiPath.pdf activity, which is called read PDF with OCR. All of these properties we are going to see into UiPath, and then I'm going to come back to this page, right? But let's talk about the use case, or I would say the mini use case which we are going to tackle today, right? So today I have a scenario. I have got a utility bill, it in a PDF format, and I have to extract some information from the PDF. Now the PDF is not a native PDF, the PDF is a scanned PDF, right? So these would be the steps which I am going to do today, and all of this we are going to see in a step-by-step manner into Studio, right? If you are watching this video, I would highly request you to please open up your UiPath Studio, practice this use case along with me, so that at the end of this complete series you are a pro PDF automation developer, right? So with that, let's go back to UiPath Studio now. Okay, so let's talk about the files. So these are the files, guys, which we are using for this tutorial, and just a quick recap, right? So this one is the text based PDF, which simply means that I have options to select the data like this, right? And if I compare it to a scanned invoice which looks something like this, I do not have an option to select the data. This is nothing but an image, right? And let's try to see how do you use the scanned invoice, right? You can create any of the scanned invoice of your own, right? Take any of the document, take a photograph of it and scan it and pass it to your laptop. That becomes a scanned document, right? So or you can just go to Google and search for a scanned invoice and download any of the invoice as well. Okay, now I'm back to my UiPath studio. Okay, so first thing first, you notice here into the project we need to have this one, which is the PDF activities, and that PDF activities give me all the PDF activities, that PDF dependencies give me access to all the PDF activities which are available, right? So inside the app integration PDF you would have all these options, right? So read PDF text we have already seen, which is when you have to read a normal editable PDF. Today we are going to see this one, which is read PDF with OCR, right? So step number 1, just drag and drop this guy here, and that's it, right? Now it is asking you, Mukesh, tell me where is the file. So I'll just provide this file path. I'll go here, paste it, and I'll just select the path of the scanned invoice, right? In a real-time automation, this path, everything will come from a variable, from an argument, or maybe a different automation, right? So that is your implementation. Okay. Now the next thing here is, this activity requires an OCR engine to run. Now for the OCR engine, if I go to the activities and if I just search here OCR, okay, you would see that inside the OCR, which is again part of the UI automation package, you have a lot of OCRs which are available. You have UiPath screen OCR, which we have used in the document understanding. You have the Tesseract, you have the Google Cloud, and you also have the Azure and the other OCRs as well, right? Now some of these OCRs are free to use if you are using inside the UiPath environment, but let's say if you want, your requirement is not fulfilled here, you can also go for a paid OCR, and you can also introduce your new OCR such as Abby, right? Depends on your requirement, right? Now to get this OCR, the first thing first is you need to have the UiPath.UI automation package added to your project, right? Because we have just seen that these activities, the OCRs are part of UI automation in the OCR panel, right? So in case you already have this UiPath.UI automation activities available, you should be good to go. Otherwise, if you'll just drag any of this OCR here, it will automatically add the dependency, right? But the bottom line is OCR are part of the UiPath.UI automation. The dependency should be there, and then you could utilize any one of them. Okay. So today I'm going to utilize this guy, which is the Tesseract OCR. So all you have to do is just drag and drop this OCR here, which says drop the OCR engine here. And that's it, right? Now if I go to the properties of the Tesseract OCR, you would notice that these are the options which I have, and it is not asking me for any API or any subscriptions, right? However, if I just delete this, okay, let me show it to you about the paid OCRs as well, right? So for example, today I plan to use this one, which is like, let's say, Azure Computer Vision OCR for some of my enterprise requirement. Now if I go to the properties, you would notice that it is asking you for the endpoints and the API key, right? So this means this is a subscription based OCR. For your requirement, you have to go to Azure, get the subscription, provide the API key, and you would be able to utilize the same into your automation as well. Okay. And if you remember from the document understanding playlist, we have also seen that how I can utilize the UiPath OCRs, right? So different topic, but the whole idea here is that OCR can be interchanged. Some are free, some are paid. Okay, so I'll just remove this, and considering that we all are learning and we would try to utilize the free one, so I'll just go to again back to the activities, and I'll use this one, which is the Tesseract OCR. Drag and drop it here, and Tesseract OCR does not ask me the API key. However, it does provide me some of the settings and the controls which I can have. Let's talk about that. I'll go to the settings, and here you can see that it is asking me that, Mukesh, this is the display name. Okay, image is image, allowed character, denied characters. Sometimes when the OCR is giving the output, you want to deny certain characters, or you want to only allow some characters. So for example, I am working on a use case where I only want numbers, or I do not want numbers. That you can configure here. You have options to extract the words, invert, right? If you check this, sometimes the PDF which I have is a white background with a black text. However, sometime you might have a use case where the background is black and the text is white, right, which is like a invert. So tesseract allows you to have this thing as well. The language used by the OCR, which is the language you are trying to use, by default it is set to English, but you can always change this as well. Now the next properties which are bit important for the use cases is the language profile and the scale, right? So tesseract provides you a lot of options. To better understand that, I'll quickly go to the documentation for the tesseract OCR, which is available on the docs, right? So you can see here what are the allowed characters, what are the denied characters, invert we have already discussed, right? And then what are the extract words, right? If this checkbox is selected, the on screen position of each detected word is also extracted, right? Then you have something which is called profile, which means that what do you want to achieve. The following options are available. None, does not apply a profile. Screen, pre-processing suitable for remote desktop application. If you are doing this on RDP, select screen. And scan is suitable for scanned files, right? And legacy is the default option which works for all the pre-processing of the images, right? So depending on the use case, you can select a profile which you want to utilize. Okay, the important one, scaling, right? So the scaling factor of the selected UI image, the higher the number, the more you enlarge the image. So this is an image, right? So now when we are passing this to the OCR, do we want to enlarge the image and then pass to the OCR? If that is the case, then you just increase this number onto the scale. This provides a better OCR, but it is recommended with small images. If your image is already good looking, you do not want that. But let's say you have a small scan and you want OCR first to zoom it out and then read, then the scale property is for you. Okay. Now here is something which is important, that large size images may result in an error when scaling factor is higher than 1, right? So this is kind of a mix and match, or I would say a trial, right? Hit and trial option where you have to just utilize this and get the options. If I talk about the output is nothing but the text and the screen positions which is coming from the extracted words, right? So this is the OCR, and different OCRs will have different settings. Okay, now for my use case, I'm going to leave everything to the default settings and I'm not going to utilize this as well, right? I'll go to the properties, and here these are the settings which are available for me into the read PDF activities as well. The previous one were in the tesseract, but this one are for the read PDF with OCR. And here you have a couple of settings like the file name. If it is a password protected, as we have seen, you can provide the password. Degree of parallelism, image DPI, and the range. Range is exactly the same. How many I want to use? Do I want to read everything, which is all, or I just want to read between the pages 1 to 2, 2 to 3, we can provide that. Image DPI and degree of parallelism, I'll go and explain when I'm doing the theory part. Okay, so for now what I'm going to do is I'll hit Ctrl+K and I'll just say str_output. Okay, so all I have done is I have used and read PDF with OCR activity. I have passed the file path and I have used an OCR. Depending on my requirement, I can customize the OCR, and some of the settings are also available as a developer onto the OCR pack as well, right? Now when this activity will execute, you will get this into this variable which is str_output, right? Now to do that, I'll just go here and use something which is called log message activity. And I'll just say info level log, and let's try to print the output which I got from here. I'll save this, go here, run the file, right? Now if everything works as expected, right, so the output from this PDF, which is kind of a scanned PDF, would be available for me into my log message activity, and UiPath would print the same into the console. Okay, automation completed. Let's go to the output, and this is the output. Let me just copy this, take it to a notepad, right? So if you would see here, this is the output which I have received. I can maybe remove the extra information, which is this and this, right? And this is the complete information which I have received from the OCR. which talks about the invoice number, the base down street, the address, right? I think it was a bit clear to read in the output panel only. Right here you can see that it was able to extract most of the information: 231 subtotal, taxable, tax rate, total is 5500, right? So all of this it was able to read, right? vertex42.com, I think that also it would have scanned. Here see, vertex42.com, right? So basically whatever data was there into the scanned PDF, it was able to extract and put it in a text format, right? Now this might not work into your use case. What you should do, I have to get into a different OCR. I have to play around with the settings to get the output which I require. You can block the character, you can accept the characters, you can allow the characters, right? All of that is your use case. Now once you have got till this point, the next step obviously would be, I cannot utilize this output in any of my further automation, which means that now I would have to extract relevant information from this. And now if you would have noticed, this is nothing but a string, and now to extract the data from string we have different ways. We have regex, we have GenAI extractors, I think we also have something which is called string manipulation, link queue, right? All of that you can implement on this and get the output. And all these techniques, since we have already discussed in the previous video, so I'm not going into details, right? If you have not watched, please watch the previous video, that how do you extract meaningful information from the text output of PDF, right? And that was about the read PDF with OCR. You can change the OCR and you can get the relevant details. I have got it into string, you have the string. Now just do the data manipulation and extract the meaningful information. Okay. Now there are two things which I discussed that I'm going to tell you while I'm doing the theoretical part, right? So we have seen that the file name is required, the password is optional, range as we have discussed that we can do this by default value, it's all. Degree of parallelism, control how many pages are processed in parallel. Since it is an OCR, you can process the pages in parallel. Default value is -1, which uses all the available logical processors. But let's say your PDF has 10 pages and you want to process, let's say 2 pages, you can just change this value to 2. Okay. The next one is DPI, which stands for dot per inches. Dot per inch is used for rendering the image before the OCR. Before you pass the data to the OCR, how much image DPI you want, right? Default value is 150. Higher DPI means improve the accuracy but increases the processing time, right? So if you have something where the output is not getting as expected, you can play around with the DPI and increase or decrease the DPI. However, make sure that if you increase the DPI, your processing time would be slow. And anyways, you have noticed that when I am using with the help of OCR, because it is converting image to text and then giving my output, the output is slow compared to our native one, right? So this is also kind of an interview question, that which one is faster? Always native PDF would be faster, OCR would be slower because of converting the image thing, right? And if in case you play around the DPI, it might also affect the processing time as well, right? And output as usual is text, which you can just utilize, right? Now there's an important note, ensure that the supported OCR engine is available. Tesseract we have used, you can try with Google or you can also try with UiPath, right? You have to just get the API key from the cloud account and you can utilize the UiPath OCR as well. And by the way, you can also get your own OCR engine from outside. Example is Abby. Okay. Cool. So that is pretty much I wanted to cover in this tutorial. I hope this was beneficial. Let me know in the comments if you are able to accomplish. Let's quickly summarize and let me tell you some of the best practices. Okay. So read PDF with OCR is ideal for scanned documents, right? Because for native one, it does not make sense. Higher DPI will improve the OCR accuracy, but increase the resource usage and it will consume more time. Make sure of that. Use the page filter to reduce the processing time. By default, it is set to all, but in your use case, you might not want everything to be read, right? So make sure that you use the proper filters. Ensure that the OCR is compatible and properly configured. Having a right OCR for the right use case is critical when we are using with OCRs, right? And OCR also has its own settings. So make sure that you are properly aware of what all those settings do. If you are not aware, read through the documentations, play around with it and then configure it correctly to get the maximum out of the OCRs, right? So that was a quick summary and some of the best practices, right? So with this, wrapping this video here. Any more questions, any more doubts, feel free to write in the comments, and you can also drop me an email as well, right? So with this, wrapping this video here, I would really appreciate your feedback on this content. And in case you are coming new and you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel to get the next videos on the same playlist. And with that, taking a leave, thank you for watching and happy automation.